Welcome back to Think Design Works Smart. I'm Alex Bolboaca and I'm coming at you from the Mozaic Works studios with a special edition because yesterday evening I was just browsing the internet and this news just came in and I think it's interesting and important to discuss it because we are heading into some, let's say, interesting days due to AI. So this news was just in last evening. And let me just tell you the story as I managed to reconstruct it. Some details are not known because were hidden yet from the press. So we don't yet know all the technical details. And it might also prove that this is not 100% correct. But for now, let's go with the news as it is. So apparently, this happened to an undisclosed company in Hong Kong. And in January, an employee in the company's finance department received a message from someone who said they were the company's UK-based chief financial officer. And the email was instructing this employee to transfer around $26 million to various Hong Kong bank accounts across 15 transfers. So a pretty weird type of transfer, right? It's not something that I expect happens on a daily basis. And initially, the employee was a bit skeptical. He wasn't certain that this was happening. But then he attended a video call where the CFO showed up. And still he thought the CFO was a bit off and wasn't certain that this was actually true. But then some other colleagues showed up in the call. And based on that, he said, okay, so I will initiate the transfers. And he started transferring $25.6 million. It was a week into the scam when the employee contacted the company's headquarters that they realized something was wrong. The employee who was scammed did not so the Hong Kong police did not name the company or employees involved. They said scammers created deep fakes of meeting participants based on publicly available video and audio footage from South China Morning Post, which is a newspaper in China. The employee who's scammed did not interact with the deepfakes during the video conference, according to the media outlet. Investigations are ongoing, although no arrests have been made, according to the media outlet. So basically, an employee was tricked into initiating transfers of tens of millions of dollars because of a mixed attack. First a phishing email and then a call with deepfaked versions of his colleagues. And this is quite worrying. Now, the technical details are not very clear, so I have a few questions that come into mind. The first question is, did the initial email contain a link to the video call, or was that somehow hijacked as well? Because, okay, you get an email telling you, I need to do something, but then how did the attackers manage to hijack the call? And if the link was in the phishing email, and that was suspicious, then it's an error it's a human error, but it can happen for that person to actually click the link and join the video call, because in that case you don't know whether that link is actually the correct one or not. Or maybe the video call came through other means, like it was hijacked somehow, or it was added in the calendar and then you had the link there. But if that happened, it means that that the attackers had access to other tools like the calendar and so on. So it seems like the easiest version of this would have been if the link to the video call was already in the phishing email and the employee clicked it, joined the video call, which was not the actual true version, but one with deepfakes. And then, okay, so the first person seemed off, but since multiple persons came up, he said, okay, that is correct. That seems legit. And this is quite worrying, right? Because it can happen in a number of situations, particularly with deepfakes. One scam methods that is happening right now that I've heard of is people calling parents, typically elder parents, and saying, look, your kid has been in an accident, please, he's asking for some money, transfer me some money right now because this is a big problem. He needs some money to pay expenses or whatever. And this is, of course, tends to be a scam. But imagine if this happens not with the voice of somebody you don't know, but with the voice of someone you know, like a voice that is similar to your kid. And maybe the reception is not that good and so on. And you can say, okay, the voice is a bit off, but it's an emergency and it seems like it's the connection is not that good where he is, whatever. So there can be all kinds of reasons that can make it very convincing. And if this happens in companies where presumably, I imagine the people are trained in security practices, I can only imagine what can happen with people who are not trained. So the question is, what can we do about this? And in my mind, there's only one thing, and that is to have a kind of a second factor authentication that is, let's say, a code word. So whenever you call somebody you know, they can ask you for the code word, and you are the only one who knows the code word. Now, this is also tricky because presumably you can do a kind of a man-in-the-middle attack when you call somebody, get their code word, and then use that code word with the other person. So it has to be both ways. You need to have two code words, kind of an answer and a response. And yeah, it seems that we'll be moving back to 80s spy films or 70s spy films, because this sounds like a method that would work in this case. So anyway, I thought this was a very interesting and worrying piece of news, and I think it's important to keep in mind and to be very careful, to double, triple check in case you get some weird demands, or even if they look as if they are coming from your manager, maybe, check them out in person. And because we are getting into a world where it starts to become a bit more difficult to know what's real and not, apparently. Now, I'm not sure if this is 100% correct, or if it's really possible to make such convincing deepfakes yet. The things that I've seen seem a bit off, but I can only imagine in the right circumstances, these things can kind of push you over the edge and be just convincing enough to do things that, let's say, are not the best for you or for your organization. So yeah, be careful, stay safe out there, and maybe start introducing some code words in your family, in your organization. If you have any other ideas or any other comments about this piece of news, as I said, it's still fairly new and not all the details have been provided. I'm skeptical about a few things, but I can see this happening in the right circumstances, so we need to pay attention. What do you think about this? Is this something that we need to be careful about? What can we do about it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you kindly for the view, and until next time, remember to think, design, and work smart.